The top stories: PM Abiy meets and discusses with President Samia Suluhu. And Russian diplomat says the victory of Adwa changes the outdated political order in the past. Hello and welcome to ABC World, the voice of Pan-Africanism, with the latest news highlights of the hour. I am Tabitha John. To stay with us. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed today expressed gratitude to President Samia Suluhu for the warm welcome to Tanzania during the nation's time of mourning. The premier went on to say that on behalf of all Ethiopians, he expressed his deepest condolences on the passing of former President Ali Hassan Mwinyi. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed pays his respect at a memorial ceremony held for former President Ali Hassan Mwinyi of Tanzania. Abiy further indicated that today's bilateral meeting is testament to how our historical ties have paved the way for stronger relations in the present. The MOUs that have been signed today in agriculture, energy, trade and cultural cooperation lay a solid foundation for ongoing and reciprocal development. An Ethiopian delegation led by Gebramesqal Chala, Minister of Trade and Regional Integration and Chief Negotiator for Ethiopia's WTO accession, held discussions with Thani bin Ahmed Al-Zayudi, PhD, Minister of State for Foreign Trade and Chair of the 13th World Trade Organization Ministerial Conference, MC13. Ms. Ganwaraga, the Deputy Chief Negotiator and State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Eyob Tekaling, State Minister for Finance, and a member of the National Steering Committee for Ethiopia's WTO accession, and Ambassador Umar Hussein, Ethiopia's ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, participated in the bilateral meeting. The Ethiopian delegation briefed the UAE side on its WTO accession negotiations and the progress made so far, and it also requested the UAE support in Ethiopia's efforts to conclude the negotiations. Furthermore, the Ethiopian delegation met and discussed with the Minister for London and State Minister for Trade Policy of the UK, Gregory William Hands, and Ethiopia's WTO Accession Working Party Chair and Deputy Ambassador of the UK to Geneva, Ambassador Rebecca Fisher-Lamb. The UK's delegation expressed a strong commitment to continue supporting Ethiopia's WTO accession process. Ambassador Rebecca Fisher-Lamb reiterated her strong conviction and hopes that Ethiopia will conclude its accession process and join the WTO during her chairmanship period. The Adwa victory is a symbol of freedom, independence, resistance, and the end of colonial domination celebrated by all black people across the world. Former Sierra Leonean Foreign Minister David Jones Francis said, the gallant Ethiopian forces under the leadership of Emperor Menelik II and with the able hands of the likes of Dejazmach Balcha Safo and Fitaurari Habte Georgis Dinegde scored a landmark victory against Italian colonial powers. The victory of Adwa is celebrated on the 2nd of March annually, not only by Ethiopians but also by black people worldwide. In an exclusive interview with the Ethiopian news agency, former Foreign Minister and Executive Board Chairperson of the Global Black Center said that the effect of Adwa victory is far-reaching and were significant in promoting the freedom of black people. He stressed that Adwa is the symbol of freedom and pride. Take a listen to him.
The Adwa victory means it's a symbolism of freedom in Africa. It's the symbolism of independence in Africa. It's the symbolism of the end of colonial domination. So today, as we meet in Addis and as we commemorate the Adwa holiday on the 2nd of March, we will commemorate for all Africans within the continent, but also outside of the continent, the day of freedom, the day of independence. But it's also about reinforcing the message of Pan-Africanism as promoted by the African Union.
He also pointed out that the aspiration of realizing United States of Africa is not just a mere idea, but rather a concrete project.
The Adwa victory is a symbolism of freedom, it's a symbolism of resistance, it's the symbolism of independence. So today, as we reinvigorate Pan-Africanism, don't forget, a lot of people have said Pan-Africanism is dead. No, the project, what Adwa has taught us is to give us the inspiration, the courage and the resilience to move for the United States of Africa.
You don't know your future. So this Adwa is going to change the next generation to look at the unity is our strength.
All the struggle that the Africans and people that were oppressed were doing against Europeans were consolidated around the Adwa victory. It humiliated Italy, obviously. In fact, the Prime Minister of Italy that time was Francesco Crispi, I think that's the name, he has to resign.
We needed a unifying force, and nothing more than Adwa, as I've sung 25 years ago, nothing more than Adwa that would unify Ethiopia and black people around the world. So that makes it unique.
So that actually galvanized all the people of Africa, all the people of the Caribbean in their fight against colonial domination. So you cannot underestimate the victory of Adwa.
We have to take the lesson from what our fathers do for the country. So this generation has to think twice what we have to do for our country as well.
Welcome back. The victory of Adwa was not simply to defeat Italy in military operation. Rather, Adwa is a victory over racism. The remark came during an exclusive interview with Mama Desta Mego, the Jamaican-born Pan-Africanist. Mama Desta also says the stunning victory depicted the defiance and pride of Ethiopians, an attitude which was inherited by the national liberation movements in Africa in their struggle against colonialism. Jerusalem Betsaha takes you through the remainder of the interview. Take a look.
In 1896, fascist Italians were eyeing Ethiopia, having designed tricky plans to colonize the country, while other European countries had already scrambled the rest of Africa. However, Ethiopia had successfully defended its independence with love of land.
Love of country, love of land, love of culture, and not being willing to compromise that and give that away in any way, shape, or form. That was the motivation of the people, to protect the sovereignty. So indeed, it is love of land and love at the core of our mission to be able to protect the sovereignty.
Mama Desta added Adwa as a manifestation of equality among human beings. That's why the victory of Adwa as such Ethiopians became a beacon of hope for other African countries that were under colonial occupation.
When it happened here in Ethiopia, a country that had already been a beacon of light for black people around the world, the news just reaffirmed what the possibilities are for all black people to end colonialism on the continent and to free the shackles of slavery and other forms of discrimination throughout the African diaspora, also known as the Sixth Region.
Adwa became an inspiration among Africans to be united for Pan-Africanism movement. Therefore, Ethiopia's role was remarkable for that initiative.
The term Pan-Africanism and the notion that, yes, this is something that is in our grasp. It's not just a dream or a vision, but indeed something real. This is what the Battle of Adwa did. It propelled the movement. It took it to the next stage, and the next stage was indeed the end of colonialism on the continent, because within 60 years of the victory of Adwa, we now have the formation of the Organization of African Union right here again in Addis Ababa, where at least 32 countries were the original signatories of the 55 that we now have. So it really was significant, and Ethiopia continues to be the center post. If you look at the flags of every African nation, they somehow will have either the red, the gold, or the green. So we took our cues and continue to take our cues from Ethiopia.
The victory of Adwa as an African victory, all Africans should transcend the history of Adwa through art for the generations to come.
If we can use the arts as a way to share the story, share the narrative from generation to generation, we help ensure that the names, Empress Taitu, Emperor Menelik, Lemabuya, all the people that were involved from all over Africa, from all over Ethiopia rather, that they continue to sustain the message, because it's not just now oral history being passed on, but we have imagery, we have songs, we have poems, we have stories that can tell the story for lifelong generations to come.
Currently, Ethiopia and Ethiopians have commemorated the 108th Adwa victory through symbolizing Adwa as a national pride, freedom to Africans and the black people around the globe.
And finally, a Russian diplomat describes the victory of Adwa on March 1st, 1896 as a unique victory in the sense that its results were not short-lived but surprisingly permanent. Talking to our staff reporter, Mulu Girmay, Russian ambassador to Ethiopia, Yevgeny Terekin, underlined that Adwa potentially witnesses to what ordinary Africans can do when they unify as farmers, pastoralists, women and rural people, workers and artists. They're able to score a decisive victory against global colonialist forces. Abtamu Ashagwe presents the rest of the interview as follows. Take a look.
The victory of Adwa is one of the key factors that has been changing the past political order in the globe. Talking to BBC, the Russian ambassador to Ethiopia, Yevgeny Terekin, said the victory of Adwa is instrumental for all black people against colonial rule.
It is really a very, very remarkable event in the history, not of Ethiopia only, but as well as the overall history of oppressed people's struggle against oppression and colonialism.
The commitment of Ethiopian solidarity was a key factor to abolish white aggression and colonialism, Terekin added. The ambassador expressed the Battle of Adwa changes outdated historical perspective of the white aggression against Ethiopians as well as Africans.
Adwa changed perspectives, and history was never to be the same as before for Ethiopians and all the peoples of African origin.
Unity and solidarity are key instruments for the victory of Adwa and means of solving any complications.
To express what lesson we are getting from this victory, we can say it in few words. When people is united, it will always be victorious. That means that this battle, the victory at Adwa, has demonstrated that Ethiopian people, when it is united, can overcome any problem, any obstacle, and decide any task. I think that from this angle, this is the main lesson of this victory.
The ambassador highlighted the victory of Adwa in the 19th century was a good motivation for all Russians to abolish foreign powers.
A reminder of the top stories. PM Abiy meets and discusses with President Samia Suluhu.